Well, again, welcome to the Charter Global and Allconnect lunchtime webinar program about Allconnect leverages continuous delivery. I want to welcome everybody today. Please let us know if you have any questions or issues. You can send your questions to marketing@charterglobal.com. All right, first we want to welcome today, we've got Tipu Gagaturu. Tipu, are you there today?
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome for joining us today. Tipu is a CIO for Allconnect. Definitely a visionary. He has taken the lead with building the Allconnect IT organization with a well-rounded focus. We also have, actually he's in India and he's on a really tight schedule, so he may be jumping in later. Ken Reeves, our SVP of Client Services and Strategy for Charter Global. Ken, we hope to hear you jump in a little bit later. And with that, we will get started. Are you there? Okay. Hello, Ken.
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Great.
And hello, Tipu. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good, Ken. How are you?
Great.
And as we know, all of us who are in the IT services and with large companies and small, our IT people are very busy, and we did have another attendee, but Tipu, as you told us, he at the last minute could not join us because of production issues. That's our world as we live it, right, Tipu?
Yeah, Abhi is supposed to join. He had to work on some urgent needs.
Okay. So afterwards, we're going to record this so he can listen and watch it later, the recording, and see what fun he missed. All right. All right, let's get started. First of all, Tipu, can you tell us a little bit about Allconnect for those out there who don't know what it is, and it's really quite an interesting business model.
Sure. My name is Tipu Gagaturu. I'm a CIO for Allconnect. Good afternoon, everyone on the call. What Allconnect does is we enable marketplace for sellers and buyers for home services like phone, internet, cable, satellite, home security. All home services products can be bought through our marketplace for movers, or if you're shopping for better deals in these services. We have founded Allconnect in 1998. We have offices in Atlanta, Lexington, Kentucky, and St. George, Utah. We actually service more than 20 million customers every year, and we have data representing for 50 million households in the country.
Right, thank you, Tipu. And I have to say personally, I recently moved, and when I called up to get my utilities hooked up, was automatically connected to Allconnect to help me with all my services. So I was like, oh my gosh, Allconnect, I know them, they're a client of ours. So I was excited. And by the way, my name is Tamara Hyatt. I'm with Charter Global. Thank you, Tipu. Let's move on and jump into, so what was your platform at the time? What were you, I know it was a complex platform, multi-channel, lots of connections to take care of. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, in 2011, as we are growing into more products selling on our platform, we have decided to build a brand new platform. That platform would enable selling all these home services, cable, internet, satellite, telecom, security products through multi-channel, both from a call center as well as digital. We have a presence online as well as mobile from the digital side. So the complexity is basically sell these products through our platform by integrating with all these service providers. We have 25 service providers, products that we sell in our marketplace. We also get more than 75 utility companies who send us the leads to sell these services. So you can imagine the complexity of this integrated platform where you could actually create products and order them through our channel for all these big service providers like
Wow.
Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, Dish, uh, home securities like ADT. So that requires a massive SOA platform which can integrate with all these service providers. What we did was from 2011 to 2013, we built a SOA platform called Viper platform, which consists of 35 services, independently deployable, uh, and we have another 30 applications sitting on top of it to
Oh,
serve multi-channel solutions. So this requires building everything from scratch and deploying them in the cloud infrastructure. We use heavily AWS, and until 2013 we developed and we rolled out in 2014 for all our channels, and in 2014 we were in the mode of optimizing entire platform.
hmm.
So it took 4 years for us to actually launch this platform.
Wow. Yeah.
So the one thing I want to point here is that Allconnect engaged Charter Global in 2011 to partner with us to build this massive platform. Uh, they have been working closely with us. Most of the development is done by Charter Global, and we're able to launch it successfully in 2014.
Great. And I'm sure it was a very complex project, as you said, with all the many integrations and connections with all the services. All right, let's move on. So as you lead into that, can you describe for us the challenges after getting this platform set up after 4 years, but getting into it? What were some of the challenges and why and how did you engage Charter Global?
So now we launched it. Now we got a new chief product officer who needs enhancement in this platform all the time. That means as a CIO, I wanted to manage the risk because it consists of
Right.
60 applications, and I wanted to basically scale it. And at the same time, we wanted to satisfy employees not having to go through the releases every night. So in 2015, we released 75 releases
Wow.
because of all these service providers needs their API upgrades, and we had to basically absorb those changes that required 75 releases last year. So when CPO came here, she wants basically the product and the platform to have more releases, smaller releases ongoing into the cloud infrastructure so that she can market some of these products and features faster than what it was being deployed earlier. So that was the biggest challenge we had. Now we have to look at it. Do we do everything manually in terms of deployment, even though we
Right.
leverage SOA architecture and the cloud? That is when we started looking at other options.
hmm. And the CIO, as we pointed out here, you are the CIO, you wanted reduced risk.
Yeah, I want to reduce the risk in terms of moving these changes into the production all the time.
Yeah. And improve the capacity and the scale, as well as you mentioned, improve employee satisfaction. So what kind of challenges were the employees realizing, and what were you trying to improve for them that they could get this?
So,
Go on.
so 75 releases is almost like a release every week
Yeah.
uh, in the mornings. It is actually impacting employee morale in terms of waking up every week for a release. Since our platform does not have a contained product, we depend on the service provider, so we get these releases uh, as they think, in fact.
hmm.
So that requires all our employees to be alert all the time.
Right.
They don't know the release, but they would expect releases from the service providers.
What about from the customer side? What was the value of trying to push out the delivery quicker?
So some of the challenges we have with our digital side of business is we wanted to move these changes faster for some of our uh, MDU customers,
Mm-hmm.
multi-dwelling unit customers. Those things we were not able to do as fast as we think. It has to be planned like a release,
Mm-hmm.
and you go through a release and deploy them overnight. All that is a tedious process for making any change in production.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the challenge. So now you're looking for a solution and ways to resolve these challenges. So what did you do next to help address those challenges?
So we know the whole deployment is a manual process. We wanted to basically automate it, not just uh, build process, but the complete deployment process, right from checking the code all the way to deploying to production. Uh, it's a big initiative, but we have Charter Global as a partner who have been developing this platform quite some time. We leverage them in terms of helping to build a continuous delivery pipeline where the builds are fully automated,
Mm-hmm.
deployment to different environments from development to integration, integration to QA, QA to training environment, and all the way to production. We have built continuous delivery
Right.
deployment process using tools like Jira from the project scheduling and management side of it. Then we use Jenkins and Maven for a standard build process. Then we used Ansible for all infrastructure configuration to deploy these applications rapidly into production. So what we did was we used this deployment pipeline process where we check in the code and gets into different environments, and we also build automated regression and functional testing
Mm-hmm.
for our digital channel, where it runs the automated testing once you make any code change, and it gets tested in different environments, and it goes to production automatically.
I'm going to back up just a little bit for some people who are attending who may not be as knowledgeable about continuous delivery and what that means. Could you sort of give us a description of what that means to you and to Allconnect, the whole continuous delivery pipeline, what that means?
Sure. So let's say a product owner wants to make a feature enhancements or some changes to the application. So what we do is we basically take the requirements and try to chunk it small
Mm-hmm.
code changes. Those code changes can be packaged and deployed into production in a automated deployment way, so that if you push that change, if that doesn't work, you could roll back to the previous version. All this is you think like a factory where you give the raw material, you get the product at the end, but everything is automated
Right.
uh, instead of configuration management team or even developers looking at every environment, what is the issue, or even what are the testing scenarios we need to test the application before we push it to production. It is a longer cycle in terms of
Mm-hmm.
moving code from one environment to another environment or even to production. So that's all fully automated. You would know when you have a problem, any of these automated processes.
Hmm. Now, and my background is from Lean and Agile, so how does this fit in with the whole Lean and Agile? From what I understand, with this process, the releases are always ready, but you're prepared for because you're in advance of any issues that could come up. Can you describe that to us a little bit?
Yes, so from Agile or Lean, whatever methodology you use, as long as you have a releasable feature in the application. If you could change that and use the pipeline to deploy to production, it would be much, much faster.
Yeah.
Also, product owners and customers would be much happy not to wait for a longer life cycle in terms of release,
Mm-hmm.
as well as if there is any issue in production, you roll back quickly.
Okay. So I'm also wondering, does this process, continuous delivery, apply across to all of your products, the 25 products you mentioned? Is this platform in place for everything?
So right now, it is in place for all products
Mm-hmm.
for our digital channel. We do have a allconnect.com. There are many branded sites and also a mobile site. We are in the process of migrating all our call center applications onto
Oh,
this
yeah,
new.
yeah. I'm sure that's a whole other set of challenges with the call centers.
Right, but the good news is we have already done on the digital side.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to basically use the same CD pipeline to the call center channel too.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's moving on a little bit more then about, so you've got this implemented. Can you tell us a little bit about the actual project? How involved was it? What kind of resources were used? And then what kind of benefits and results did you experience?
We started this project late 2015. So we met with Charter Global team in India and came back with a vision in terms of how we build this continuous delivery process along with automated testing.
Mm-hmm.
Automated testing is a key part of continuous delivery. There are certain testing can be done manually, but most of it can be automated. So we know we want to choose tools and we want to choose people for both building continuous delivery side of it and also the automation. So uh, 2015, sometime in November timeframe, we set up a team in offshore for the automated testing, and we also had a team here who focused mainly with the configuration side of it, uh, with the Jenkins, Jira, and Ansible. So the teams worked very closely in terms of implementing the automated process, both build and deploy, even to the production in the AWS. So we re-engineered the AWS infrastructure in such a way that you could actually push these ER files or applications and you can back out in a one click.
Hmm.
So it's a huge part of the automation that we did, and we launched on February 4th. From that point onwards,
Wow.
by end of May, we released 98
Oh
features.
my gosh.
The product got 32 releases. So it's like the one good thing about this is we are not waking up in the early morning
Yeah.
make these changes. And there was a time where Abhi, our
Yeah.
programmer, was clicking the button to go to production
Mm-hmm.
without any involvement from our development or any other resources. It was a very minimal resources just to make sure it goes to production. So this is a huge improvement in terms of productivity and also speed to market. If you see, we have released 98 features end of May. As a matter of fact, we had a release today.
Oh,
So
okay.
the other advantage is you could release these changes through this CD capability on a daytime. Uh, so you don't have to wait for nighttime
Right.
where you have a low traffic to flip these changes into
Huh.
product.
Good point. Yeah. and all of us are aware of that. So that's great. So you don't want to be like a doctor on call. Now you're a specialist. You can schedule it
That is
during the
right.
daytime.
Right. And most of our development and QA resources are so excited and they're happy
Mm.
that they're not waking up early morning for releases.
So how has the morale improved?
Yeah, morale has improved significantly, and they want the same CD pipeline
Hmm.
on other channels like call center,
Yeah,
so that they don't have to do these releases in the morning.
great. Thank you. So let's move on. We're going to start taking some questions now from out there to our attendees. If you have a question, please, you can submit it in our question queue box, and we'll address those briefly. Ken, are you there? Ken Reeves was going to join us, but I know he's had a really tight
Yes,
schedule.
yes,
Hey, yeah.
I am
Um,
here.
Before we jump into our questions, can you give a few comments about the project and Allconnect and how Charter Global was involved?
Well, I would first say thank you, Tipu, for really giving Charter Global the opportunity to work with you. I remember back in 2011 when you did come into our office, and it's close to 4 to 5 years now, going strong, and we're happy to continue to support you in that endeavor. Part of our goal here at Charter Global is to be able to provide the needs to our clients. And at the time when we came on board to work with Allconnect, it was development work, and from there it moved into doing some QA work, and then now we have even moved into CI/CD work, and then there possibly are even some other opportunities. So we're excited to grow along with you, learn with you, as well as experience new tools and new ways to improve technology and development.
Yeah,
Thank,
thank you, Ken. In fact, I want to thank Charter Global in helping to build Allconnect platform. And this journey is an amazing journey for me too. The whole platform is successfully built and deployed to all our call centers as well as to our online channel. This is a huge a deal in terms of changing an existing platform with a new platform for all our running business.
thank you, Tipu. And as I said, please send your questions. I see some questions coming in. Let's see. So submit your questions. Tipu, we do have a few questions for you. The first one here is, what was the biggest challenge you had in implementing continuous delivery?
So the challenge with continuous delivery is, the first thing, the teams that were working in a traditional way of doing things, where development is isolated with QA is isolated with production support. So the change management side of it, hey, there needs to be a DevOps group, and we wanted to basically automate this entire deployment process. That is actually a big challenge. Whenever you change the processes, even before you implement them, you got to basically educate the teams, hey, it is going to improve how we deploy in future, and also identifying resources who needs to build this kind of continuous delivery. Do we have any skill gap here? The change management side of it, and the skill gap analysis was a challenge. Once we put the team together, then it was an exercise of implementing continuous delivery.
Right. So I know it can be difficult coming in, for example, with an offshore team and your team. Was there tension between the teams? And if so, how did you address that?
So the Teams have been working very closely with architects and leads in offshore. But again, the education part was the key. It is not something we are fully automating, and these releases are done in the offshore. It is a matter of making it more productive on-site. So once team understood that, then it was an easy exercise in terms of people change management side. Then we
Right.
implemented.
Okay, and we do have several questions coming in. What was the biggest factor in enabling daytime deployments?
So as technology evolves, we had content management systems for updating content. We do have a dynamic content you need to update on the website. So if you look at Allconnect Business, we do work on service provider integrations. We get different data. If we want to basically suppress products or do set some merchandising data on our websites, it it does require daytime releases. Whereas previously we were not able to do any daytime releases.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big challenge from product teams, merchandising teams, and indirect channels like MDU channels we have. So we need that capability, first thing, to make changes in daytime.
Mm-hmm.
And also for employees, if we want to change, if you want to make any change in production, you don't have to wait for nightly releases.
Right, right. And sort of a follow-up question to that. It says automated delivery eliminates the need for resources, but how did you eliminate the impact to systems and users during business hours to get to the daytime CD model? So it's sort of a similar question.
Right. So it is a very good question. Uh, so if you look at our AWS infrastructure, we do have a way to deploy into production where you make the change and the graceful shutdown of old services automatically will shut down. Once this new service is back up and start taking a load, it's a gradual traffic turnover to new application.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a massive release in terms of a lot of database changes, database updates, that requires a little bit of careful release, but most of these changes does not require any impact to the user. I will give an example. We did a release today. We
Mm-hmm.
pushed change into one of the cloud instance, and that basically takes the new traffic, and the previous version of the application will be able to gracefully shut down so that you don't impact any users using that older server.
Great, thank you. All right, we've got a few more questions if you have time, Tipu. This is one I'm curious about as well. Puppet and Ansible are the two leading CD tools. What are your reasons for choosing Ansible over Puppet?
So this is again based on the team that we formed. The team have chosen Ansible for a couple of reasons. Ansible gives you a linear way of execution, and it tells you exactly when it fails, whereas Puppet was more of like asynchronous way of doing a task in the script. That was a one factor the team explained. And Ansible was part of the open source, which is familiar with the team that we recruited here. You could use any kind of scripting tool, Puppet Labs, Ansible, or any other tool, but the team have chosen Ansible here, and our configuration engineer is more familiar with the Ansible, and he built the whole production deployment using it.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. And this is, we'll take a couple more questions. Let's see. All right, so about how much time does it take for a typical deployment? And that answer can depend on so many factors.
Right. The typical release is today web applications is less than 2 minutes. We just push a button and the deployment occurs in production. Whereas development to production, it takes 30 minutes. That includes running automated tests, all that.
How many minutes? Can you repeat that? It faded out for a second.
So if everything goes well, it is a 30 minutes. If test cases fail, then somebody has to look at why the test cases fail. But if we don't have any issues from the testing side of it, it is a 30-minute turnaround to push any change to production.
Huh, okay.
But the actual deployment to production is 2 minutes.
2 minutes, wow, okay, got it. All right, and we're going to take one more question and then we'll close up the webinar for today. What level of automation testing have you achieved?
So we have done significant automation on the digital side. We do have a regression suite. We use the Protector tool for building test cases. They run even in the production every morning just to make sure the systems are up. We schedule them whenever we need it. I would say digital has about 75% of coverage. We're in the process of doing the same thing on the call center channel too.
Great, great. Okay, I think that's the last question we're going to take, so we can, if we don't have a lunch, we can go get lunch. Are there any other questions, Tipu? Any other comments?
Thank you everyone for listening in this session. In fact, it is actually a major improvement for Allconnect in terms of how we build and develop software, and we have a great partnership with Charter Global, who helped us in building not only the software but also continuous delivery and all the release management that happens today.
Thank you, Tipu, and thank you for joining us today. And Ken, thank you for jumping on for a little bit.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. If you would like a copy of this PowerPoint, please send a request to marketing@charterglobal.com. And if you want to view and hear the webinar, that will also be available on our website, as well as a case study and information on future webinars. We are also developing an ebook about continuous development. We'll send out a follow-up email with information about that. So thank you for joining us today. Have a good day. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, bye.